Well, yeah.
No, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
After the last one, we had one wide open.
You?
Yeah, the guy was close.
Let's see. So I went to the next day. I was like, well, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was actually a fancy.
I'm the big person.
No, but they've done it. Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, they always have one.
Yeah.
They started on Thursday. I switched from Benadryl to coffee.
Yeah.
I was feeling better. First was the lead. It's just.
Fire away when you're ready, whoever's got the mic.
How you doing, Kirk? Obviously, the offseason, you'll sit down with your family, your representation, you'll pray on it, and come to what you guys will do next year. But right now, after playing today's game, in your gut, where do you feel like you'll be playing quarterback next year?
Appreciate the question. I understand the question, but I'm not in a position right now to even give you an answer. I need to catch my breath. We'll have plenty of time. The league's set up in a way that we have a lot of time to make those decisions, and I'll use all the time that I can, be very thorough and diligent. But I need to catch my breath, and we'll have a conversation on Friday in Fairfax, with a group of fans with the radio show, and be able to, communicate a little more in depth, a little more time, where my head's at, and kind of debrief from this season.
Kirk, on a couple of those interceptions, did you feel like you forced the issue? And then also, if you did, in a game like that where you got to get something going, like what's the fine line you walk there between being more aggressive and then punting again?
Right. I think the short answer is yes, I was aggressive. And the first interception was really, a protection issue where, I sent the line, tried to really have an educated guess as to where the pressure was coming from, ended up being incorrect, so they had a free runner. And knew I was hot and had to get rid of the ball. And my quick element was Josh on the one-step slant there, the now route. And, I in theory should have just, or in hindsight, should have just thrown it as cleats because, I got myself in a bad situation and shouldn't have made it worse. The second interception was just a, play-action pass where typically I would just check it down. But for whatever reason in the moment, I was just too aggressive and tried to go down the sideline. And, I knew I didn't want to put it too far out there for Ryan because there was a safety over the top. So I left it short intentionally, but when you do that, Ryan's not ready to come back for the ball like that, and not to mention the DB then had a position and kind of boxed him out, and it was hard for Ryan to be able to break the play up, and the DB made a nice play. And then the last one, we just moved out of the pocket, and I think that was a situation where I was just trying to be aggressive and manufacture something at a point in the game where it felt like if I wasn't going to try to start forcing it, that it was going to be hard to move the football. But it is what it is.
Weather was the same for both teams, obviously. How much of a factor was that in neither team really being able to get a lot of offense going in the conditions?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm sure the conditions, affected it to some degree, but like you said, it's the same for both teams. And, we were still able to throw and catch at times. We just didn't do it consistently enough for whatever reason.
How did some of the struggles early down and distance affect you guys in terms of never being able to truly find a rhythm throughout the game? I know you've talked about that quite a bit in the past.
Yeah, there were so many plays. I don't know if there was a consistent theme throughout the game of why we didn't get it going, but the fact of the matter was we never really got it going. Combination of reasons, but was just disappointed with the fact that we never really found a rhythm and couldn't really get going.
Kirk, there was a pass to Vernon Davis that it looked like either you overthrew him or he broke off the route or there was a miscommunication. Can you tell what happened there?
Yeah, they played a brackets coverage where they're doubling a couple receivers and everybody else is pretty much singled up in zero coverage. And, I went to Jamison, but he was doubled, and then my eyes went to Vernon. And with no middle safety, for some reason instinctively, I just felt, that I wanted to take him over the top, especially when I saw DRC kind of in his back hip. But in hindsight, I should have brought him flat across the field like he was running the route. just spur of the moment, my instinct was to, put it over the top with no safety. But on that route, he was right to break it across and, should have thrown him flat. And that's one of those plays you're frustrated with because, had you brought him flat, had he caught it, there's really nobody left. If he can outrun DRC, I don't know that he would do that, but if he could, it's a touchdown. So those are the plays you feel like you were there, you read it right, you saw it right, and you just, instinctively put it in a spot that, in hindsight, it should have been a different spot. So.
Kirk, irrespective of your decision or what happens with you next year, what do you see in this offense to build on for next year? Can you put some meat on the bones of that?
Yeah, it's hard again right now to kind of sit down and talk about big picture and all that, but I'll try. With the injuries, I think the silver lining was we developed some younger players, so there'll be greater depth next year, more experienced players than you would otherwise have if our starters had stayed healthy. We also picked up a lot of players through the process as we put more guys on IR that I was very impressed with. I think you saw what Bibbs could do again today, a lot of catches, and he can run hard. He plays well. So he's kind of a pickup that you're excited about going forward of some things he could do potentially and give you some depth. So, I think that's maybe a couple of things that pop up, but, I felt like our defense really played well down the stretch of the season, and I think that's a positive. And, we just have to continue to develop young players. We got to have young players come along to a level where, they go from being good contributors to Pro Bowl type players, and I think that can really be the difference for us.
Kirk, Week 17 last year lost to the Giants. Week 17 lost this year, lost to the Giants. And in both games, it seems like the Redskins start kind of flat. How does that happen? How do you guys get out there, and do you feel that's the case?
Did we start flat in both games? Yes, I think is the answer. But is there a correlation or a connection? No, I don't think so. It just and we don't start flat in terms of not coming ready to play. It just they made a couple plays that were or we made a few mistakes that then lead to a flat start. But I had a great week of practice, was feeling really confident coming into the game. And was ready to go. So that's where it's always hard to predict what's going to take place until you play the game, and that's why you got to go out and play the game because, I felt good about it, but it just didn't come together for us.
Kirk, earlier you said that, you admitted that you're human and sometimes thoughts stray into the future that you don't know what's going to happen, and you have to bring yourself back. I was wondering if today, since this is the last game of the season, was it harder to – did you find yourself with those thoughts drifting today? Was it harder to kind of bring yourself back because of the finality of it all?
No, I've been in this position now for 3 years, so this isn't, my first time going through this, and I understand how to handle it, and, I was very present, and, just didn't get it done.
Kirk, just jump into the offseason again. I know you said nothing's decided and all, but have you at least looked at, what you want for next year? In New York, you've been speculated with the Jets or whatever. Is there anything I'm looking for a team that's going to win now, or I'm looking for I could go with a rebuilding type team.
Yeah, I'll be able to get into that all. We have a lot of time here this offseason to talk through all that, and that's why I'm going to be there on Friday to talk, and then there'll be a lot of weeks leading up to free agency that will allow for that. But I think it's all about winning. It's all about winning, and that's certainly where everyone's focus is, from the owner to the general manager to the head coach to the team to the fan base. We all just want to win.
You had another deep shot to Josh that didn't connect. It looked like he had obviously a chance. He goes up for it. Obviously, I know the offseason, as you've said a million times, is an unknown. But trying to be able to figure out the chemistry with a player like that on that kind of thing where he is so uniquely special, do you feel like you ever really figured out how to get that ball exactly where he wants it this year? And how much of it can you work on something like that in an offseason with no defense, or is that something that's just going to be more game reps over the course of years?
I do feel that we improved greatly as the season went on, and I'm excited for what he's going to be able to do going forward. We tried a few more opportunities this game, but they put a safety over the top, and so my read took me somewhere else, or it was checked down to the running back. But really, we called the play with the intention of giving him a shot. Another one, in hindsight, I didn't take him, checked it down, and looking back, probably should have given him a chance. So there's a few plays like that, but the one we did take, we didn't hit, and we probably needed to give him a few more opportunities, especially in a game like this where it was probably going to take an explosive play like that to get us back in it rather than just marching it methodically down the field. So, no, there's no doubt that Josh has a unique skill set when it comes to tracking the ball in the air and having a big catch radius, and we've just got to give him more opportunities to do that and take advantage of it when the defense allows us to.
A lot of fans get frustrated when they see him get some opportunities, not necessarily of the deep explosive type, and see the drops. But for you keep throwing to him. Are you guys seeing something in practice that is different, that you're just kind of waiting for him to be able to take it to the field, that you have that confidence in him moving forward?
Yeah, I really just go where my reads take me. And, there's obviously 2 or 3 plays a game where maybe I misread it and go to the wrong guy. But I'm really never dropping back saying, let me work Josh or let me work Ryan or the running back here. It's really just going where my reads take me and trying to avoid sacks and find completions and get the ball out of my hand before, something disastrous could happen in the pocket. So just try to find those open guys and a lot of times coaches are going to formation certain players to get the ball more, get opportunities. And then obviously a lot of our reads are coverage based. So based on the way the coverage goes, it could go to any different person even once the play's been called. So, we'll keep feeding guys. And, this was Josh's rookie year, really, and without much of an offseason either. He didn't get a lot of practice reps this offseason either. So there's a lot of raw potential there. And, I'm excited about what that can be developed into.
Kirk, you guys dealt with a lot of adversity this season. Obviously, everyone knows about the injuries. And I know you guys aren't built and wired to kind of use excuses, but with all things being considered, how would you assess your play this season?
It's again hard coming off the last game, just the rawness of it right now to kind of give a big picture summary. I think I was pleased with the character our team showed, the way guys kept playing. Nobody, let up on their effort or checked out. Everybody that was healthy and was there was engaged and practicing and playing hard all the way through to the end. And I think it's just about continuing to develop young players and bring our offense and our team along to where, we have a lot of guys who can really play and can really contribute.
Kirk, with Josh, when you look at how he can develop, is it a matter of learning to run routes from different spots? Is it a matter to run the route tree the way you guys need it versus what he was doing in college? Where is it that he can really kind of develop as a receiver with that?
It's hard for me to give a summation right now on all that we would work on. So I hesitate to say anything because I feel I'm going to emphasize or say the wrong thing. But there's so many nuances to an NFL offense and to our passing game specifically and details. And I think you just need time and reps to get that to where it's not just understood or written down, but it's instinctual. And I say that, but then I say there wasn't a lot today where he's not doing it right. I felt like I don't even know of a play where he didn't do it right. So I wouldn't really want to create that narrative. He's done a good job. And, we're talking about, him wanting him to be not just a really good receiver, but a star, and so we're going to hold him to a really high standard and then try to give him opportunities accordingly. But he's done a great job, and I've been really pleased with his development through this season and excited for his future going forward.
Kirk, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Fighting back to